Welcome to this GED Math Booster video. Today's topic is finding the midpoint from two coordinates. Let's take a look. What is the midpoint of the 2 points? We have a coordinate plane here that is not scaled, but we are told that we have the point -6, -1 on the left here, and 2, 5, both positive on the right. And we are trying to find the midpoint of those 2 points. So we could imagine a line between those 2 points and that we are looking for a coordinate somewhere near that circle. Now that is already helpful because we are clearly in quadrant 2. We have learned that we call this first quadrant over here, where both are positive, quadrant 1, and then we go counterclockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason that that's helpful is that we know that in quadrant 2, x is negative and y is positive. When we look at our answers over here, we will notice that answer A has a negative x and a positive y. That's okay. But B has a negative x and negative y. That cannot be the correct answer. And C is positive 3 and -2. That can also not be in quadrant 2. So we can rule out answers B and C, and that is always helpful when we can limit the answers that we're looking for. Now, we want to use math to ultimately answer this question. How can we do that? Well, our coordinate answer is going to be halfway between these 2 points. That means it's going to be halfway between the two x values, -6 and 2, and halfway between the two y values of -1 and +5. So we can actually find that coordinate by taking the average of the x's and the average of the y's. Before we do that, let's label our first point, x1, y1, much like we do when finding the slope, x2 and y2. But in this case, we are going to take the average of the x values. And that is going to be the x part of our coordinate. So the x part of our coordinate is going to be x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Our x values are -6 and +2. -6 plus +2 divided by 2 is -4 divided by 2, which is -2. Let's move over to y. It's going to be y is equal to y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Once again, we are trying to find the y part of our coordinate for the midpoint. -1 plus 5 divided by 2 equals 4 divided by 2, which equals 2. So our x part of our coordinate, -2, our y part of the coordinate, +2. The answer is -2, 2. Answer D in our multiple choice list. So our main takeaway from this problem would be that the coordinate of a midpoint can be found by finding the average of the x and the y values from 2 points or 2 coordinates. That's it for today. I hope you feel better prepared to handle a question involving the midpoint of 2 coordinates.